Om. 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 Gणपतये नमः. Om सरस्वत्यै नमः. Om श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. With the blessings of Bhagavan Krishna and all the sages, all the acharyas, let us churn the butter, the essence of Gita, by churning Geetarjanam, the buttermilk, the focused mind. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Geetarjanam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Geetamritam. Om Namo Geetamritam. In the last two sessions, we have discussed on the very important portion of Bhagavad Gita, that is chapter 2, 54 to 72 shlokas. It is really Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is singing that song which is divine, which is the guiding star for all of us to follow, understand, and imbibe in our life. Sri Krishna is telling us how beautiful the life here would be if one is sthita prajna. How being sthita prajna, one can also experience anubhuti, the para as well, the transcendental experience one can get. So it's important that we go through 54 to 72 almost every week, those two sessions. Because if you are able to understand and if you are able to apply it to our life, the whole Gita is there within us. Sri Krishna is not telling it just to Arjuna. We are all Arjunas. And even the generations to come, even all those humankind can get the guidance from these shlokas, 54 to 72. So let us keep repeatedly recite 54 to 72, understand, go through the sessions again and again, those two. That way we can be really one with Gita Devi. However, Arjuna is still having the doubt because his mind is still puddled. So Krishna starts explaining the same 54 to 72 shlokas in much detailed manner. And thus there are 3, 4, 5, 6 like that till 18th chapter. If Arjuna had understood 54 to 72, Gita probably would have stopped at that itself. But there is not one Arjuna, but many, many Arjunas who were there, who are now, and who will be there in future. For all Arjunas, innumerable Arjunas, Krishna had to go further in taking up in detail what he has said earlier in the second chapter. So now we are moving on to the third chapter. Sharda, you are ready?
Yeah.
जायसी चेत् कर्मणस्ते
जायसी चेत् कर्मणस्ते
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
नियोजयसि केशव
नियोजयसि केशव
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
व्यामिश्रेणैव वाक्येन
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
येन श्रेयोऽहम् आप्नुयाम्
येन श्रेयोऽहम् आप्नुयाम्
लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा
लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा
पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ
पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघा
ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानाम्
ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानाम्
कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्
कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्
न कर्मणाम् अनारम्भात्
न कर्मणाम् अनारम्भात्
नैष्कर्म्यम् पुरुषोऽश्नुते
नैष्कर्म्यम् पुरुषोऽश्नुते
न च सन्न्यसनादेव
न च सन्न्यसनादेव
सिद्धिम् समधिगच्छति
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु
तिष्ठति अकर्मकृत्
तिष्ठति अकर्मकृत्
कार्यते यवशः कर्म
कार्यते शवशः कर्म
सर्वप्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
सर्वप्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
यः आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
यस्तु इन्द्रियाणि मनसा
यस्तु इन्द्रियाणि मनसा
नियम्य आरभतेऽर्जुन
नियम्य आरभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम्
कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः सः विशिष्यते
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
ह्यकर्मणः
कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीर यात्रापि च ते
शरीर यात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येत् अकर्मणः
न प्रसिध्ये अकर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा
Purovacha Prajapatihi
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
Anena Prasavishyadvam
अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम्
Yeshavostvishtakamadu
केशवोत्तिष्ठ खामधु
Devan Bhavayata Anena
देवान् भावयता अनेन
Bhavayata
ते देवा भावयन्तु वः
Parasparam Bhavayanta
परस्परं भावयन्त
Shreya Param Avapsyata.
श्रेयः परम् अवाप्स्यथ
So, Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna is having confusion, doubt, a question, which is very serious in his mind, which he is asking. Jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyohamapnuyam. Means Jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhihi aho janardhana. O Janardhana, Krishna, Jyayasi, superior. If you chet karmanaste, if superior is that buddhi, the knowledge, if that knowledge, discriminatory knowledge is superior to chet karmana, than action or the deed, work. Tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi. O Keshava, if you think buddhi, the intelligence used, analytical mind they use, contemplation they do in Sankhya Yoga, if that is superior according to you, then why are you pushing me, putting me into action in this horrendous, terrible war? Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasi me. Mohayasi me. You are confusing my mind by vyamishreneva vakyam. By telling me, by infusing me into this kind of advice. I am totally confused. You are giving me vyamishra, that means confusing, ambiguous advice. Apparently conflicting views you are putting in the same breath. And if you think buddhi is superior to karma, then why are you asking me to get into this horrendous war, action, karma? Why are you sending the conflicting, ambiguous views into my mind, which is getting confused totally? Tadekam vada nishchitya. You decide one thing and tell me. Yena shreyo aham apnuyam. By which I can get the highest good. Shreyas. Tell me that path decisively. You tell me. So, Arjuna is still puddled in his mind. His mind is not stable, not clear. It is agitated still because his attachment to the people on the opposite side is still strong in his mind. So, whatever Bhagavan is telling, those words are falling on the clouded mind, because of which mind is disconnected to some of the points which Krishna is telling. So he is only hearing the words, but he is not listening. The words are falling on the ears, but his mind is not listening. That is the problem. So Krishna is telling one thing, and Arjuna is understanding differently. So this question is coming. If you think buddhi is superior to karma, then why are you sending me to karma? So Krishna, you are telling me one thing and you are asking me to do another thing. So you are sending the signals in a very confusing way. You decide one thing and tell me what I should follow for my shreyas. So he's keep on singing the same Varali Raga again and again, not understanding what Krishna is really wanting that Arjuna to understand and take the action. It happens, we have experienced. For example, when children don't understand their homework, which they would have learnt in the school, when they come back home, parents try to teach them. Even then, they are not able to understand clearly. So what do the children say? You are not teaching me properly. Even you don't know anything, just like my teacher. Leave me alone. I'm not going to sit with you to learn from you. Like that, they get angry and they get away. Why are they doing that? Because the mind is still not stable, clear to listen. There is difference between listening and hearing. So at least here, Arjuna is having that calmness to the extent of asking Krishna, you decide something and tell me decisively what I should follow for the shreyas of mine, for the highest good which I can attain, apnuyam, through which path I can attain that shreyas. Tell me decisively. So he is open to that extent. He wants Krishna to tell him. Atma Vidya is complete. It is wholesome. Atma Vidya, the knowledge of self. Once we have that knowledge of self, the confusion, doubts, questions, they all get annihilated because they have that wholesome knowledge of Atma Vidya. But it is not for the impure mind, agitated mind, For them, they need to work out karma. They have to work out to purify their mind, and then they can contemplate on what that Atma Vidya is. So, Krishna is not straight away telling Arjuna, who is still muddled up. He's telling you get into this karma yoga, which describes in chapter 3. Arjuna is still unripened. He's not ready to get into that contemplative, meditative approach to understand what Krishna is telling. Bhagavan Uvacha. Then Bhagavan says, Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha jnana sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. Anagha, one who is sinless, Anagha, O Arjuna, Anagha. Lokesmin, in this world, dvividha nishtha, there are discipline for gaining the supreme bliss in two-folded path, or it can be translated as dvividha nishtha, in two ways. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, through jnana yoga, through pure contemplative seeking knowledge. That is one path which is meant for sankhyas, who are highly contemplative. That is one way. Karma yogena yoginam, through karma yoga, through the action oriented path, which is along with the proper attitude in the mind and following the discipline, the spiritual discipline which is described, pura prokta, which has been already said. And I have explained it already. Pura prokta maya. I have already told you that there are two ways. So, ancient path of this spiritual seeking, when we take it as dvividha nishtha, dvividha, nishtha is that discipline. Nishtha is discipline. Dvividha, if we take the meaning of the dvividha as two types, one is karma yoga, another is jnana yoga. What people say, the scholars who take this approach as two different paths on their own credits, each path is reaching the same goal, they say. Through karma yoga, on the credit of itself, on its merit, if one follows that karma yoga throughout with spiritual discipline, they reach the same spiritual goal. Dhyana yoga, through meditation and contemplation, if they keep doing their sadhana, they also reach the same spiritual goal. When we take it as two different parallel paths. There is another approach in understanding this dvividha as the nishtha, that spiritual path is only one, but there are two folds, two-folded path, which is one, according to which one has to have both karma yoga as well as jnana yoga. Once the mind is cleansed through karma yoga, the mind becomes pure and it expands to the transcendental realm as well, because the pure mind is capable of expanding with clarity, and with that clarity, stableness is there, naturally the mind is ready for contemplation, deep reflection, and deep meditation, and thus the mind goes to the next fold, which is jnana yoga. So one cannot go directly into jnana yoga, but one has to follow karma yoga. Purify the mind, purify the body, get ready to enter into the next fold, which is jnana yoga. That is another way of taking it. So in the third chapter, Krishna is describing what that karma yoga is, how one should do the actions. Karma nishtha, jnana nishtha. In karma nishtha, that is one who is following that, doing the actions as yoga, being one with the mind, being one with that self, the supreme, and carrying on the actions. Karma nishtha. They will get into pravritti, that is into the action. Whereas in jnana yoga, they renounce the actions totally, in the sense, even the mind, intellect, sense organs are not engaged with the objects of the world. Totally absorbed into that supreme self, Ishvara, through contemplation and meditation. That is Nivritti Marga. So, this is what Krishna is telling. In both folds, in both parts, mind, intellect, anthakarana are totally involved in doing or in exerting the limbs, the body into action. And thus they evolve. Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. So, as Arjuna understood, Krishna is not telling Arjuna to give up the action totally. He's not telling that at all. But Arjuna has misunderstood it. So in the next one, Krishna describes Na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam purushoshnute Naishkarmya is egoless actionlessness. Naishkarmya. Egoless actionlessness. That is Naishkarmya. Arjuna, don't get confused by nakarmanam anarambhat, by not getting into or beginning or start the actions, by not starting the action at all. One cannot attain that naishkarmya, that egoless actionlessness, one cannot get just by avoiding the action. Na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam urusho ashnute. They won't get. Nacha sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. By mere external abandonment of actions, then also one will not get that spiritual perfection, siddhi, that spiritual perfection, the goal of spiritual attainment, one will not get. So how can we understand? What can we understand? In both the situations, the mind should be in contact with, in touch with, absorbed in Ishvara, Supreme Self, and carry on the actions. That is when it becomes Naishkarmya. Because the mind, intellect, anthakarana is totally absorbed within the self, Ishvara, the Supreme. But the action is going on through the limbs and the body. That should be always there. So, na karmanam anarambhar naishkarmyam purushoshnute. Just by giving up the actions, not doing the action, you are not going to attain that naishkarmya, which is very important to get out of the cycle of birth and death. If I say, I individual, I am doing this work, it is I am the one who is doing this. So I should be the one who should be rewarded. I am the one. I am that individual who has accomplished this. I should get the reward. I am. So, with that ego, false I being so strong in our actions, it is egoistic actions. Instead of that, this work has to be done. There's no other way. This work has to be done. So it is done. There, I am doing, he is doing, she is doing. That question will never arise. That work has to be done. It will be done. It is done. There ends. That is Naishkarmya. That leads us to Naishkarmya. So, when we understand all individuals, when they see themselves as Atma, the self, each and every one is complete and perfect. But with ignorance, we are not seeing ourselves as Atma, but we are becoming I am the mind, I am the body, I am the false I who is involved in the world. Because of that, we get into thoughts on desires, accomplishing it, making it, and I want the reward for it. All these things, all these factors are nothing but expression of only one thing, which is ignorance of who I am, what I am, what is the capacity of that I am. That I am is ever expansive, pure earth. That when it is clouded, all these expressions come out. So it is just one. All different desires are nothing but one expression of that ignorance. And see how much multiplicity is there in desires, in different intensities, varieties, and what all come out of that. Positive, negative, so much of duality is there. So that will never lead us to Naishkarmi. And at once, one cannot get into that Jnana Yoga of Sankhya. When the mind is impure with all these desires and everything, the thoughts, it cannot contemplate. So outwardly leaving off, giving up the actions is not doing any good. Instead, it is creating more material emotions in us. So, devotion without philosophical knowledge, devotion without philosophical knowledge is nothing but sentimentality which satiates the mind. Similarly, the philosophical knowledge without devotion is nothing but intellectual circus or speculation, which is satiating the intellect. Nothing more. No one can go beyond in both the scenarios. So we have to understand that. And let us see what he says in the next shloka. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya krit karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jay gunaihi. So understanding still the inquisitive expression of Arjuna, which he is showing on his face, confusion on his face. Krishna is stepping down one more step to make it very clear. What does he say? Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Without action, even for a minute, kshanamapi jatu, one cannot remain. Nahi kaschit, not at all. Even for a minute, even for a second, one cannot stay actionless. Karyate hi avasha. Without any choice, being compelled. Karyate hyavasha. Being compelled by karma, the action which comes out of Sarva Prakriti Jai Gunehi, as born out of the characteristics of Prakriti, Guna, one is compelled to do the action every moment, which is very, very true. We might think just sitting, I am actionless. It is not true. I am exerting the effort to sit in a place without doing anything. So it is not actionless. Eating, sleeping, walking, reading, everything is action. Everything is action. For that matter, Jagrat, when we are awake, we are seeing, we are hearing, we are touching, we are doing something or the other every moment. That we understand. The way of exerting the energy as action vary from one type of action to another type of action. But the effort is put all the time. Jagrat. In Swapna, even then, we are doing the action of creating the dream world, staying in the dream world, making that dream world enjoyable by the dreamer mind. So mind is in thorough action. How can I say I am actionless? While sleeping also, there is action happening physiologically. It's happening. Only thing is, the mind is not interacting with the sense organs and with the sense objects. That's it. But everything else is in perfect action. So, without choice, without our choice, Sarvanulanghya Shasana, that is what they say for Lalitamba, who is the queen of Prakriti. She is reigning that Prakriti. Sarvanulanghya Shasana, the law of nature, no one can cross. Everyone is bound by the law of nature. That is what Krishna is telling here. He is reminding us. Karyate hyavashah. Without control of ours, we are carrying on the action. So, can you imagine to what extent we are all bound? Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran. Indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyachara sa uchyate. Krishna is openly telling, take out from your mind, Arjuna, that you will not get into karma. Every moment, the minute we are born, it starts when we are in the womb of the mother. We are into the action. You cannot escape the action, the karma. It's going on without your control. Obediently, the action is going on. That's what he said. Now he is making it clear. Then what is karma? Karma yoga. How can I carry on myself? Uplift myself to go to the second fold, which is Sankhya, contemplative, meditative fold, where mind has to be pure. How can I go there? For that, karmendriyani samyamya. Ya aste, one who has fully restrained, controlled karmendriyas. Karmendriya, they have control. And they are doing the actions only what is happening on its own physiologically. That is like karmendriyani samyamya. Ya aste manasa, one who is manasa in his mind, through his mind, smaran, thinking of indriyartha, the sense objects, means he is called vimudha, one who is deluded. That person is mithyachara. He is hypocrite, self-deluded person. Sa uchyate, he is called like that. So what does it mean? I might be controlling all the indriyas, but the mind is constantly thinking of indriyartha, the objects of the senses. It is continuously going on in my mind. But outwardly, I have given up getting attracted, and I am pretending as though I am away from the sense objects. The outer indriyas are not in touch with that, but the mind is very much one with it. Those people are called vimudha, mithyachara. That is not good, because many people getting attracted to the ascetic life, they give up the work, they give up the actions, and they wear the sannyasi robe, saffron color, and they act as though they have given up all actions and they are sannyasis outwardly. But the mind is very much with all the impurities which all commoners also have. What is the use of that? You are cheating your own self. I will tell you one incident. You might have seen it on YouTube also. In Rishikesh, there is Arundhati cave near Ganga. In that Arundhati cave, there was one guitar Swami. He just strums the guitar and keeps singing Bhagavadgita, 1 or 2 chapters. So when we went there to see Arundhati cave and sit there for a few minutes, and then we wanted to come back. But this guitar Swami, he started singing on his own with his guitar. And at the end, out of joy, we gave him some money in appreciation. He started demanding, is this what you give for my rendition? I entertained you so much. I am the only one who can sing Bhagavad Gita with guitar. He started claiming, and he showed anger, jealousy, so many things. He was ready to fight. But He is called Gitar Swami. So that is exactly what is mithyachara, vimudha. Instead of that, face life, but have the mind steadily focused on Ishvara, the Supreme, the Self, and carry on life. That is Karma Yoga. That is what is Karma Yoga. Along with physical withdrawal of actions, doing actions in the world, one has to withdraw the mind, the intellect as well. That withdrawal should be both physical and mental actions, not just the physical actions. I will quote Saint Kabir Das, who says in one of his dohas, "O ascetic yogi, you have donned the ochre robes, but you have ignored dyeing your mind with the color of renunciation. O yogi, you have grown long locks of hair and smeared ash on your body as a sign of detachment. But without the internal devotion, the external beard, which is so long, you have sprouted, it only makes you resemble a goat." So, this is another way of describing who that mithyachara, vimuda is. So, it is not that only in spiritual field, the garment what we wear, the actions what we do, the mind should be one. They should be speaking the same one thing, not different. The garment is saying that you are a sannyasi. The actions are doing something else like a commoner. And the mind is like a corrupted man, it is going in all directions. All three are different. That is nothing but mithyachara, hypocrisy. It is not just in the spiritual path, in every action of ours. All the three should be one and the same. For example, if I am a surgeon, I wear the white coat. A patient is there in front of me on the table, operation table, and I am doing the operation. So, because I am wearing that white coat, because I am in front of the patient, because I am doing the surgery, all the three, the patient, my action, my garment, what I'm wearing, should be one focused action. Nothing else should be there. Instead of that, while cutting, if I keep talking to the people discussing about another operation, it is mithyachara. That is what many people go through with great doctors, because they have that skill in their hands. They take off their mind, which is mithyachara. I'm talking about this through my own experience with the surgeon. I was really surprised. So, like that, in every field, there should be unity, oneness, focused one action. What we are wearing, the mind, and the heart, and the skill, and the motive, everything should be aligned. then it is nothing but karma yoga. Karma yoga. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते. Vishishyate means superior. Who is superior? Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya. By having the good control over indriyas, arabhate, one who starts, one who gets into the action, karmendriyai, by the karmendriyas. Karmendriyas are five. Jnanendriyas are five. So, jnanendriyas, niyamya, controlling them, one who starts, get into the action through the karmendriyas, karma yogam, that is communion with that self, Ishvara, Supreme. Asaktaha, he is not attached to the objects or the desire. Asaktaha, he is not into all those things, but karma. He is doing the karma, but he is not attached to that. What is his attachment to? It is to Ishvara, to Atma, to the Supreme inside. Sa Vishishyate. He is really superior. When I read this shloka, I remember a story incident about Buddha's disciple Ananda. I will narrate that story. When Ananda and another bhikshu, both of them were going crossing the river, they saw one woman getting drowned in the water. So Ananda lifted that woman and brought her to the shore, and he gave her all the necessary care by pressing the chest. He brought out the water and he saw that she's okay, and then he left. So the bhikshu who was with Ananda, he was very much perturbed, agitated. He asked Ananda, "Why did you touch her? We are not supposed to touch her. Why did you do the action for which Buddha Deva will not be happy at all? Why did you touch her? And how could you touch even her chest?" Ananda said, "That had to be done. Otherwise, she would have got drowned. So I had to do that, and I have done it." And they walked to the ashrama. And after many, many hours, again, the bhikshu started telling, "Today you have sinned, Ananda. You have really sinned." And Ananda said, "What? What did I do? What is it?" The bhikshu said, "Didn't you touch that lady? That too on her chest. How could you do that? It is a sinful act for us." Then Ananda said, "I did the work there and I left the woman there itself. Only when you are reminding me now, yes, I remember that incident. But you are carrying it all the way, all these hours. You are more one with that woman, but not me." That Ananda's action is Karma Yoga. It is. Because getting that lady, carrying her and giving the care for her was the work which had to be done for the good of that lady. He did it. There ended the whole story. He just came. Whereas he is Karma Yogi, Ananda. Whereas this other bhikshu who kept it in his mind, even though he kept on saying, "You're doing a sinful thing, don't touch the woman." But he's carrying in his mind all the way. He is Mithyachari. He is Vimodha. Whereas Ananda is Karma Yogi. Don't we also do the same mistake as that bhikshu who kept telling about Ananda without understanding the situation? So one has to be really careful after reading, studying this shloka. Yasvindriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna karmendriyai. One who starts get into the action through the karmendriyas by controlling, by restraining the jnanendriyas. He is vishishyate. He is certainly superior, not the mithyachari. The sense organs, their responsibility, their joy is to drag and tear the mind in different directions. But one has to have the good control on the karmendriyas as well as the jnanendriyas. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayo hi akarmanah sharira yatrapi cha te na prasidhye akarmanah. Niyatam kuru karma tvam. Do the prescribed actions. You must do. Niyatam kuru. You have to do and you do it. The prescribed actions. Niyata karma. Jyayo hi akarmanah. Because that is superior. Doing that action is superior than inaction. Sharira yatrapi. Even the journey of the body, Sharira, not only physical body, all the three bodies. Journey of that. Sharira yatrapi, survival of the body. Journey of the body. Te na prasidhye akarmanah. It is not possible by inaction. Which is true. When we take Sharira Yatra, from day one to this day, physically, mentally, and in Karana Sharira, the very source of thought, there is so much of action which has taken place continuously, smoothly, that we are not seeing any abrupt stop in our growth, in our journey, yatra, Sharira Yatra. Isn't it? It is continuous and smooth, which is happening, because of which from baby stage we have grown into what we are today. That is not possible with inaction. action is happening. Sarvanullangya Shasana. Every minute, every moment, action is happening in one way or the other. So, there are few prescribed duties one has to do to carry on the life with the body. What are they? When we take it in the spiritual field, Vedas have prescribed karmas, vidhita karma, niyata karma. When we follow that step by step, it will lead us towards the next fold, which is contemplating, meditating on Ishvara, the Supreme, the Self. Even as an individual, unless I do the Nitya Karma, which I have to do every day to take care of the health of my body and the mind, I have to do so many things every day. They are all Nitya Karmas. I have to do it. Without that, there is no health. When there is no health in the body, which is mind also, I cannot progress. I cannot progress. And I cannot maintain the body and the mind, which is very much helping me to grow in different ways. That's also not possible as an individual. As a family, there are some niyata karmas which we all have to follow. Otherwise, there is no unity in the family. Or there is no smooth running of the family. So there is niyata karma. In the society, certainly every society will have its own niyata karma that one should do. In the same way, every nation has niyata karma. And finally, the world where we live in, that also has niyata karma. We have to follow it. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyayo, because doing that action is superior to akarmana, not doing that action. So one has to do it. Niyata karma, nitya karma, according to the need. Because even maintaining the body is not possible without action. Sharira yatrapi cha te na prasiddhyet akarmanam. Yajnathat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. He is introducing the very concept of what yajna is. Because yajna, awareness, the concept of yajna and the awareness of that concept is very crucial, important, and highly adorable in our Sanatana Dharma. That Krishna is explaining it in such a beautiful way. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Arjuna, do the karma, do every action, perform every action in that yajna bhava, in the spirit of self-dedication, as devotion, as praising, adoring, worshipping. With that mindset, perform every action. Anyatra, otherwise, in any other way, if you do the action, it becomes karma bandhana. You will get into the bondage of karma. Tadhattam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Samachara is perform. Perform the karma, O kaunteya, without attachment. Mukta Sangaha. Mukta means being liberated from Sangha, the attachment. So, what is he trying to tell here? For every action through limbs and senses, we know that mind and intellect are connected. They are engaged in every action. What we do. So, if there is attachment, Sangha, I am doing this work. I have to have the fruit for this action. I am the one who has to be awarded for the action I am doing. So I am getting attached to two things. I am the one who is doing kartrutva bhava. I am the one who is the doer. And because I am the doer, I should eat the reward, the fruit of my action. That means with desire, I want something from this action I'm doing it. That is Sangha. Do your work, every action as Mukta Sangha, without that attachment. If we look at the nature, they are teaching us in and out, day and night. They are all teaching us how to work in this world, how to do every action. Take anything other than human being. They are all doing the just karma for the benefit or for the good of the world. It is only the human being who is orienting his mind towards what will I get, what is the benefit for me. Depending on that, we get into the action. There is a beautiful a song in Kannada. Ni yarigadayo yele manava. It is the cow which is asking him. Ittare saganiyade, tattidare kurulade, suttare budiyade, like that it goes further. So, the cow is asking the human being, to whom you have become useful. Look at this body of mine. Every part of my body, whether in whichever stage I am, even after I die, there is some use. How about you? To whom you are helpful? In what way? Ni yarigadayo elemanam. So like that, the whole nature is working in that yajna bhava as a service, as sacrifice. With real karma yoga, they are all doing except human being. So, if you take a knife in the hands of a robber or murderer, you know it is dangerous. It is not good. It is bad. If a knife is in the hands of a surgeon, it is good because he is using the knife for doing good to someone else as patient. Whereas the robber is using the knife for his own good, for his own sake. So if you look at this, knife is inert. Knife is not good, not bad. It is just there. But the way the knife is used, it makes the difference of a world. In the same way, an action is an action. But with what motivation, with what interest we are doing, that really impacts the person. That is when we get into the bondage of karma and away from the bondage of the karma. So here he is telling yajnathat karmano, that is when we are doing with yajna awareness, sacrifice, service awareness, that karma will not make any impact. I will not get into the karma bandhana. Whereas if I do anything with desire, attachment, sangha, that will certainly make me get into that karma bandhana. Avoid that. Mukta sangha samachara is telling. There is another story in Raghu Vamsha. Raghu, who belongs to the Raghu Vamsha, he performs Vishwajit Yajna. Vishwajit, the conqueror of the world. And he's doing it in Yajna, with the thought that just like the clouds collect the water from the earth, and it is not for its own happiness or joy, but to shower it back as rain. In the same way, he collected the taxes from the subjects, from the people. He performed the yajna to please the Supreme. And after the whole yajna, he gave back all his possessions and went away with the begging bowl and sat among people. So he heard people talking, we have such nice king, Raghu, who has given all his possession to everyone without holding back anything. He is such a great king. So Raghu, hearing this, he asked them, what are you talking? What has he given? He has not done anything. Then those people really got bewildered and said, how can you criticize that king, great king Raghu? He has given all his possessions to everyone. Everyone knows it. And why are you criticizing? Who are you? Then Raghu asked those people, go and ask your king what he has given. Did he come to this earth with any possession? No. Then what does he have to give everyone as though it is his possession? He has not given anything. He doesn't have anything. So this is another example to show that how a karma should be done. Like Vishwajit Yajna. So Sahayajnyaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam yesha vo Astvishta Kamadhuk. Prajapati, the creator of the whole world with humanity or humankind, Prajaha, Sahayajnaha, he created the humankind along with the Yajna awareness, which had the scope and the power in it, that Yajna awareness. And then Purovacha, and then in the beginning itself, soon after creating the humans along with Yajna, with its scope and power, he said, Anena, by this Yajna awareness, by this Yajna, Prasavishyadvam Esha, you prosper, you grow with prosperity. Astu Ishta Kamaduk, and this Yajna is like Kamadhenu cow. Let it become wish yielding cow like thing in your life. So, Prajapati, he created the world with humans with that motive as Yajna, the awareness of Yajna. What is Yajna? With that awareness, if he has created and said, with this Yajna Bhava, with this Yajna awareness, you grow and multiply, become prosperous, because that Yajna is the wish yielding cow like presence. I don't know why we are not taught this in our junior kindergarten itself. It is such an important shloka. If you don't act in that yajnartha in any other way, if you act, it will only give the bondage of karma. So Krishna is telling here, the very minute he created, in the beginning itself, he told people to have that yajna awareness. So for that we can see human body, if we take this hand, the limbs, the eyes, because they are all serving the body, body is also taking care of the hands by giving it the blood, the nutrition, oxygen, everything, isn't it? But if hand says, I will cut off myself, I don't have to serve this body, I am my own self. If it's cut off, do you think it will survive? No, it can never survive. And it is so part of the whole body. Being part of the whole body, it is serving. It is never saying, I am the one who is serving. Automatically it goes to scratch this hand, to help something, to help the body. In the same way, every individual is part of the whole universe. So one has to mind every action as service, as devoted to the growth of the whole world. The world should be beautiful, good, and safe, comfortable. For that, whatever is needed, let me get into the action. Let my every action be useful for the society, for the nation and the world. That is Yajna Bhava. So, this Yajna Bhava is working in cosmic grandeur, at the same time in every individual as well, within ourselves. With Yajna Bhava only, the body is working within the body. And the same thing is expected by every individual to contribute towards the growth of the world. That is Yajna Bhava. Devan bhavayata anena te deva bhavayantu vah parasparam bhavayantah shreyah paramavapsyata. Devan bhavayata. You cherish, you please appease devas. Deva bhavayantu vaha. Let devas please you, bless you, bestow you. Vaha, you. Parasparam bhavayantah. Mutually, both of you cherish one another, help one another, adore one another, respect one another. Devatas as well as human beings, both of you cherish one another. By this, Shreya Paramavapsyatha. By this, there will be greatest prosperity which you all can enjoy. So, what we can here see is ongoing of the world, the work of the world, sthiti of the world is going on depending on the devatas. And those devatas are also depending on the human beings, how we interact with them. Who are those devatas? They are not just sitting in the heaven. Their devatas are all the factors which are taking care of the whole universe, like Agni, Varuna, Indra, Vayu, Ashwini, Kala, Yama, Surya, Chandra. Take Vanadevata, take anything. They are all part and parcel of the whole universe who are taking care of the world. So, the greatest contribution of our Sanatana Dharma is we are personifying, divinizing each and every factor which are part of the whole ongoing of the world as devatas. So, if we have hand in hand friendship with all these factors, devatas, naturally they all feel happy that their work is conducive and their work is easier because we are giving the helping hand in our own way without obstructing them. So they will be really happy. They will bestow us with more pleasurable things in the world which we can experience. So these devatas are like federal government where there are so many different posts with limited tenure. Until then, they are holding on to the post. When that tenure is done, they will step out. In the same way, all these devatas are holding the posts such responsible posts. So we have to show respect, help them by following the laws of the nature in the right way. That way, we are on the same page and the world will be certainly pleasurable, comfortable, happy one, safe one. So, Devan Bhavayatan Anena here means through that Yajna awareness, Yajna Bhava. Doing the Yajna as uh, just like the Homa and other things, that is one. But Krishna is telling us in a much bigger way. He's bringing in the concept itself, he's driving it in. Yajna Bhava, our action, Anena, with this Yajna awareness, service orientation, dedication towards every action, it should be helpful to the world. It should do something good to the world. World means everything around us should be helped by our action. With that, Deva will be happy. How can it be? When we put water to a tree, which, to the roots of the tree, naturally that water goes all the way to all parts of the tree, to the topmost flower. That means whatever action we do, we might not see the connection with the whole world, but certainly it is helping, it is making the whole world happy. So that Yajna Bhava should be that water. When we put water to the roots, it is certainly reaching every part of the tree. In the same way, if our intention, if our action is oriented towards the whole world should be happy. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. If that is there in the mind, in every action of ours, it will reach the whole universe. To the physical mind, to the physical intellect, to the physical eyes, we might not understand. But it would have reached. That is Yajna Bhava, which Krishna is telling us. So Devas will also bestow all material prosperity which is needed in this world when it is done with Yajna Bhava, Yajna awareness. How beautiful it is. But it is the ignorance that I am the body, I am the mind, I am an individual. Everything else is there, different from me. So that possessiveness, assertiveness becomes more strong, and thus the whole mind is corrupted. So Bhagavad Gita really helps us if we give our mind and heart to understand every shloka. Om Bhagavate Vasudeva. Om Namo Devi Gita Pradaye.